Hi, my name is Beth Dill, and I'm the County Coordinator for Darren Bailey. Today we are having an event. It's a bus stop, part of Darren's bus stop tour, and he's stopping at the American Legion in Palatine. And we also have a surprise big endorsement happening today, so this is really exciting. So can't wait. Hope we get a big crowd.
My name's Dave Pritchard. I'm thrilled to be here for this meet and greet session with Darren Bailey, State Senator Darren Bailey, who is running for governor. This is part of his statewide bus tour here in Palatine today, March 3rd. He's getting a very large and important endorsement this afternoon. I'll wait for that to happen. I'm supporting Darren Bailey for governor. He has all the right conservative values and is committed to changing the state and taking it back for the taxpayers and its citizens. He's a man of deep Christian faith, believes in lower taxes, reducing the crime rate, and bringing school choice to parents. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Hey, I'm here in Palatine. It's in a really nice suburb of Chicago. It's where people are getting abused just like they're getting abused across the state by the Democrat politicians that have taken advantage of them. So I'm here today. I'm going to endorse Darren Bailey, my friend, for governor. He's the only one who's an actual conservative reformer with an actual voting record to prove that he's a conservative reformer. So it's Darren Bailey for governor in 2022. That's the solution to Illinois' woes. He's the one who's going to lead us out of this bleakness and this corruptness and lead us into the promised land, truthfully.
Thanks everybody for coming here. The Pledge of Allegiance.
We stand uncovered and pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eddie, I think you said it like
Because Illinois is ready for change. Democrats like Richard Urban and trust fund billionaires like J.B. Pritzker can waste their money because it's not going to make the difference. What's going to make the difference are people just like you showing up, getting involved, and winning in November. Today, I have the honor to introduce you to Illinois' next lieutenant governor. She's a conservative, fighting, Trump-loving, minivan driving mom here in Lyle, Illinois, and she is going to be a rock star as you lieutenant governor, Miss Stephanie Trussell.
So much for coming. I'm so excited. It's really hard to follow him. As he said, I am Stephanie Trussell. You don't understand how excited I am today to be in this position. To two people that I love so much, I have been stalking Jeanne Ives for a very long time. She was always down in Springfield fighting for us, and she is a fellow DuPage County mom. We're both moms of 5 children. She's a football mom just like I am. And when I had a radio show, as much as I could, I would have Jeanne Ives on my show. When she decided to run for Congress, I got a call asking would I volunteer, and of course I said yes. 2 days later, Jeanne called me herself and said, would you like to be a RPD on my campaign? I said yes immediately. I hung up the phone. I said, Jeanne Ives to my husband, Jeanne Ives just asked me to be an RPD, and my husband said, what is that? I said, I'm happy to be on the team with Jeanne Ives. I tell you, she is a fighter. When we had a Republican governor that needs to be primary, she was the one that stood up to stand up to Bronner. And that's why this is my first time ever working on a campaign, and everybody on that first Zoom call were people that I respected and loved. I learned so much about how to be on a campaign, how to knock on doors, and more importantly, I learned about Jeanne Ives' character. She was the same way in front of the camera, behind the scenes, very encouraging to everyone. I knew nothing, and they brought me on and taught me all about running the campaign. And so it is what was so much pleasure today that I get an opportunity to introduce Jeanne Ives, the football fighting mom, who I'm just so happy to be joining our team, Jeanne Ives.
show choir mom, so a shout out to the arts as well, but I do like my football, so it's great. You know, being a mother of 5 has taught me a lot, and serving in the state of Illinois in the legislature under Mike Madigan has taught me quite a bit. So it's great to be here at the American Legion, a place that I feel at home with as a veteran. And I just want to say, you know, shout out to all the parents. This is a little bit different, but a shout out to all the parents and grandparents who still encourage their children and their grandchildren to enter the service in the military. We appreciate you, we need you, and thank you for doing that. But good afternoon, and before I get to my primary purpose for being here today, I want to set the stage for 2022. The indictment of Mike Madigan yesterday by federal prosecutors on 22 counts, including bribery and racketeering, is turning this year into what should be the most consequential year for Illinois in a half century. It is a chance to kick the go-along, get-along politicians on both sides of the aisle out of office. It's a chance to say goodbye to the state legislators who doubled your gas taxes, who left the governor shut business down with no input from the legislative branch, who made your kids stare at a screen all day and called it school, who took billions in COVID money from federal taxpayers and then said they balanced the budget, who passed laws making streets a haven for criminals, and who wasted truckloads of your money allowing millions in unemployment fraud and stolen identities to occur. And that's just a small list of grievances which should inform voters this year. This indictment should be just the start of ridding this state of the machine politicians who have fiscally and morally bankrupted the state. We will get to the fiscal disaster, but on the moral front, Illinois state government has sunk to the lowest levels of depravity. Taxpayer-funded abortion on demand up to birth. Parents left out of serious medical decisions for their minor children. Telling little girls in pigtails they can become a boy if they want to, and telling white teachers they are oppressing black students is just some of the filth being shoved onto the honest, God-fearing people in this state. Back to the Madigan indictment. It is an indictment of the entirety of the Democrat Party in Illinois, a party Madigan alone was allowed to control. Madigan did all the heavy lifting and made all the decisions. He ran the campaigns and they fell in line. Every important Democrat holding public office in Illinois right now is there because Mike Madigan put them there. That includes the entirety of the General Assembly and Governor J.B. Pritzker. Madigan raised the money from his crony union friends and rent-seeking corporations to fund their campaigns where they lied about their opponents or policy or both. Any member who crossed him or didn't vote for him was denied the engraved clock or presented with a primary opponent. His members enabled the corruption, and his reign only ended when the federal prosecutors came knocking, and not because of any courageous member in his caucus. While Madigan is being prosecuted for corruption, he should also be prosecuted for Illinois earning the title of the worst-run state in the union. This year, voters can vote for someone who has already exhibited the courage to lead in the face of ridicule by the political class, including those in his own party. I know the Republican candidates running for governor. There are good men running for this office on the Republican side. But when leadership was demanded against a one-man government in Pritzker, there was only a one-man response in Darren Bailey. For his courage and experience, I wholeheartedly endorse Darren Bailey for governor. Darren Bailey is a third-generation family farmer. He and his wife Cindy and their 4 children farm over 12,000 acres where they grow corn, wheat, and soybeans. As if that isn't enough work, they also operate a trucking and an excavation business and oversee 2 Christian schools which they founded. As someone who comes from a farming family, my grandparents were dairy farmers in Nebraska, and I worked on my uncle's farms in South Dakota growing up. I know of the skills required to successfully farm today. including understanding financial markets, technology, mechanics, plant science, tax policy, transportation, employment and environmental laws, and a myriad of other disciplines, all involved in just farming. But just having the experience in the agricultural field, which I love to remind people, is the top industry in Illinois, isn't the only reason that I endorsed Darren Bailey for governor. In 2017, after surrender Republicans voted for a 32% permanent tax increase, Darren took on a member of his own party who voted for that tax increase. It wasn't easy for Darren to drop everything and run for election, but he did. Now there are others in this race for governor who could have done the same thing and taken on establishment politicians and gotten out of their comfort zone, but they didn't. Now they believe they are ready to be governor when some of them, not all though, some of them have no depth of knowledge on the fiscal problems in Illinois and the systems that created these problems. They think they can learn on the job when they get into office, or hire MBA graduates to manage the state. Like solving Illinois problems is a McKinsey case study. I assure you, all the bills that would improve our state have already been filed. It's just that the Democrats refuse to consider them, and so do some of the Republicans. Now, there are candidates in this race that could have run against powerful Democrats for, years ago for a legislative race in order to change the trajectory of Illinois, but they didn't. There are candidates in this race with law degrees that could have litigated Pritzker's lockdown orders, but they didn't.
Yep.
One of them, Richard Irving, mayor of Aurora, the second largest city in the state, had a bully pulpit to do so, and instead, Irving praised Pritzker's lockdowns and threatened his local businesses if they violated Pritzker's orders. Darren is the only conservative reformer in this race with a record to stand on. No one else challenged the governor's authority to alone make all the decisions that impacted schools, churches, and businesses in Illinois. In May 2020, only Darren Bailey stood his ground against yet another one of Governor Pritzker's 30-day extensions of emergency rules. Others could have stood with Bailey, but they didn't. The only reason children are unmasked today in school is because Darren challenged the governor's illegal mask mandate, and he found Tom DeVore to take the case along with him. The truth is, Richard Irving and Avery Bourne just may be both Madigan and Pritzker's favorite Republicans. After all, in Pritzker's first session in 2019, Avery Bourne gave the new governor and the unions exactly what they wanted, a $45 billion infrastructure bill backed up by numerous tax and fee hikes, including a doubling of the gas tax, which Bourne voted for. She also sponsored a bill, according to a recent Chicago Tribune report, that a Democrat refused to sponsor that would have benefited Mike Madigan's shakedown scheme of a builder in Chicago. Irving and Bourne are saying that all lives matter when the truth is Irving supported the Black Lives Movement in Aurora. Bourne and Irving are saying they're a pro-life ticket when Irving is pictured with smiling Planned Parenthood supporters and refused to answer basic questions about the topic. The Irving-Bourne campaign cannot be trusted. Republican establishment candidates and organizations are no doubt endorsing the campaign in hopes of financial campaign support, just like Rauner did to get people to endorse him in 2018. Victory for Illinois families and Illinois businesses is going to depend on voters not being sucked into believing attack ads with half-truths and no context. The numerous indictments of top Democrat officials in just the last 4 years should wake up voters. Voters must read past the talking points and the lies put out by campaigns and make better choices in politicians if we are to have a chance of making this state look more like Indiana than California. Many people who were lifelong Illinoisans have unfortunately fled this state in recent years. They eventually decided they didn't like paying a premium to fund second-rate services and other people's retirements. And then there are good people that don't want to leave and cannot leave. Their lives and their livelihoods are rooted in their communities, the land, and their family that is still here. Darren Bailey and his wife Cindy, along with their running mate Stephanie Trussell and her husband Bill, who are also small business owners, are people who are here to stay. And they are people that I trust to make the right decisions and not lose their way among the special interests and the bureaucracy. They understand that we owe it to our ancestors and our progeny to right the wrongs and retake our place as a beacon for industry and a defender of liberty. We have the opportunity to do the right thing this year, and I ask you to join me in supporting the Bailey Trussell ticket for governor and lieutenant governor in Illinois in 2022. Thank you.
My name is Patty Ann. I support Darren Bailey because he's pro-life, very pro-Second Amendment. He's for the people, he works with people versus our current governor who does not work for the people. Darren has the largest grassroots movement across the entire state. Not all the other candidates are willing to go from border to border. Darren Bailey is. He's fighting for us every day, and we're fighting right along with him.
My name is Julie Austin. I'm a King County contact for Darren Bailey. I've been following Darren since April 2020 when he filed his first lawsuit against Governor Pritzker and his illegal mandates and EOs. And we've been fighting for rights for our children in the schools for the last year and a half.
My name is Jacqueline Garrettson of Benny, and I live in Cary, Illinois, and I'm here to support Darren as he supports us for parental rights.
You know, it's interesting because as she referred to, she basically, I guess I'll just take questions because she said it all. In 2017, when I became fed up and realizing, you know, a lot of people, I come from Effingham, south of Effingham, Illinois, southeast Illinois. It is not only the most conservative district in the state of Illinois, it's the most conservative voting and principled district, I believe, in the United States. So when my state representative, that Cindy and I had helped get elected 14 years early, started supporting tax increases, it troubled me. So I began to kind of explore and try to understand and educate myself. I had no desire to be involved in politics. After all, what do politicians do? They lie, cheat, and steal, and I didn't want to be a part of that. Just leave me alone, let me farm, let us raise a family, but it's gotten difficult, hasn't it? And that's our problem. So I began to explore what my state representative was doing, and as I began to explore, I began for the first time ever to go on to ilga.gov and see what it was that our own government, the state of Illinois, was doing. And friends, this is America. When we see a problem, God bless you, Jeanne, for your service to our country. I'm so proud and honored to be standing here and accepting your endorsement in a house of heroes. God bless the Palatine American Legion. This is great. Thank you to the many men and women sitting out there right now that have served our country faithfully to protect our freedoms. And today, as we sit here, it is up to us to uphold our freedoms because they are being threatened every moment. I showed up in Springfield and you know, so Cindy and I, Cindy's sitting right here to the right of Jeanne, a wife of 35 years. We've been high school sweethearts. We have 4 children and 11 grandchildren, and that's where the fight started. Because in southeast Illinois, there's not a lot of opportunity, and the thought and concern of any of our 11 grandchildren moving away, that we might have to go spend, you know, Christmas and Easter and Mother's Day somewhere else other than in our home state, really concerned me. So we began to speak up and get involved. And so when I was elected and when I started serving and sitting in caucus in Springfield, I was appalled that, for instance, the gas tax in April of my very first session, my very first year, 2019, that half of the Republican caucus would sign on to this. And so I began to kind of stand up and take issue with this in caucus. And it wasn't long, I started asking people, I said, well, what was it like when Jeanne was here? Because, well, people didn't really like it when Jeanne was here. Sadly, the governor, the speaker, and the Senate President have shown absolutely no willingness to enact the reforms that we need. If we truly want to restore integrity to Illinois government, we must start electing leaders who will stand up and demand accountability, starting with Mike Madigan's hand-picked gubernatorial candidate, J.B. Pritzker. Friends, we're a state of immense resources and hardworking people. Our problems are the political elites who've sold us out. They've sold out working families and taxpayers. The corruption in Springfield, and of course a tyrant like J.B. Pritzker, trying to control our lives and decimate our economy by pushing an extreme national agenda that simply doesn't work for Illinois. Friends, we were once the economic powerhouse and the engine of the Midwest. And when we win and fire J.B. Pritzker, we will be again. We will get our state's economy running and growing like it's never been before. I think Illinois is poised to be something great in the very near future because we desire it and its people will demand it. But before I get to some of our plans to restore Illinois, I want to address a few of the lies and attacks that my opponents are throwing our way. Now here's the good news. If you are seeing these lies and attacks across social media, I want to tell you that that's a good thing. That means that they are scared, and it means that we are winning. Our lead, I don't believe, will be chipped away, but unfortunately they will continue to spend millions of dollars to attempt. We're winning because of people just like you who are showing up and getting involved, and to that I say thank you. The truth is, Richard Urban is indeed a career Democrat who won't say where he stands on major issues like the Second Amendment, life, and more. That's because he obviously isn't a conservative. He's a liberal being handled by the same deceptive campaign team that helped deliver us taxpayer-funded abortion and helped make Illinois a sanctuary state. Do you remember that in the fall of 2017? Yes. Friends, we can't afford another 4 years of J.B. Pritzker, and even worse, we cannot afford a more liberal, much less successful version of Browder. We need change. We need bold and conservative leadership to turn Illinois around, and I appreciate and am humbled by Jeanne's words that I am indeed the only conservative candidate who has been standing up these last several years, standing for you. The elites can keep lying and spending their money to attack me. I'm not in this race to be popular with the establishment, and I certainly don't want to be a part of their broken system. I'm in this race for you, and I'm running to reform Springfield and stand up and fight for every forgotten person, and I've already proven that I will not back down. We're ready to take on the Democrats and even the Republican establishment who have abandoned working families, taxpayers, and our hard-working Midwestern conservative values. I'm proud to be a lifelong Republican and have been standing with you for your freedoms since the beginning. I will continue standing with you and fighting against government mandates and for each of our individual liberties. If elected, I've often been asked, what are you going to start doing on day one? Well, let's talk about some of that. I think day one's going to be an amazing day because that's the day that I truly get to start working for you, all of Illinois. That's the day that we began to push government out of our lives and truly live free as God intended us to. Here are a few things that we're going to do. We're going to demand a zero-based budget. That's where every department makes a case for every penny spent to eliminate wasteful spending. I'm curious if anyone here has actually read the last budget that was passed, 3,888 pages. Friends, it's amazing. Some of the spending dates back to 1969 when Illinois first started paying income tax. It just keeps renewing, and the Illinois government keeps throwing money at whatever problem that they believe exists. It's not working. We will always stand up to protect the right to life, free speech, and the Second Amendment. We will work with the legislature to get our economy growing again by cutting taxes for working families, eliminating Pritzker's gas tax, reducing regulations, and making it easier to invest, do business, and create good-paying jobs again. Friends, I think you understand full well how devastating this gas tax is to the state. Just count the miles around our border and visit any community that's near a border. Families are continually going outside of the state to purchase their gas. Up in the Iowa region, we're hearing reports that sometimes, as of recently, there's been $1 a gallon different. Most of the time it's 30 to 70 cents. And what do people do when they go to fill their tanks up? Well, they usually shop, and they usually eat out. More money lost to the Illinois economy and small business. We will improve schools across the state. We will promote school choice and begin to take back our children. I want to remind everyone, I served for 17 years on North Clayton Unit 25 School Board. The last 12 of those, I was board president from 1995 to 2012, and I'd love to have a personal conversation with you to let you know how some of these lies that the urban campaign is putting out about raising taxes 81% is literally impossible. Go talk to your local assessor or any school board member, and anyone with common sense will let you know that that's absolutely impossible. But we did amazing things, and Clay County, still today where I live, is the second lowest taxed county per capita in the state of Illinois. Richard Urban's county of Kane is the third highest taxed county in the state per capita. Let that soak in. It's time that we focus education on preparing our children to chase their dreams and find success. We will restore respect and integrity to law enforcement, and we will let the police know that they have a governor who has their back. It's time that we fought for safer communities for every Illinoisan, from north to south and east to west. We will focus on lifting up working people and families, not the elites or special interests. It's time to hold politicians accountable, start cleaning up Springfield, and remind them who they work for, we the people. Friends, you've got a choice this year. We can pack it up. We can leave Illinois like so many have been forced to do. Or we can stand together and fight for change. Now, I'm going to contend and predict that for those who might desire or feel the need to leave to Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Indiana, almost anywhere other than Illinois, that would ultimately result in a 30% pay increase just because of the lower taxes, I'm going to contend that if you don't stay with us and fight and change Illinois, that what we are dealing with here will soon invade every state in this nation. Friends, Illinois has held a pivotal part in years past in vital times of history of standing and being the one who changed the catalyst. And friends, we can do it again, and we must do it again. Friends, we're not a campaign. You probably figured that out right now. We're a grassroots movement that's going to give every forgotten community in Illinois a voice. The elites and their checkbooks have created this mess. It's time for working people like us to stand together, and to fight back. And friends, that's exactly what we intend to do. You've been so wonderful to be with us. Many of you have from the beginning. Some of you probably here for the first time. Check us out at baileyforillinois.com. You can volunteer. You can participate. You can invite us to an event. You can look at our calendar. You can read and study and understand the movement that is taking place. Look us up on our Facebook post, Darren Bailey for Governor, and you'll see the journey that's it's amazing. April of 2020, after the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Remember that? It is an absolute honor to be here today and embark on this journey, and we have absolutely no doubt in our mind that we will indeed fire J.B. Pritzker and be standing before you 1 year from now as your governor. God bless you and God bless you.
I'm having so much fun learning about my state, traveling crisscross. I am on a European tour, but of the great state of Illinois. Just meeting so many people that makes me even more fired up about fighting for our state. It's a state for a certain state with a lot of great resources, and more importantly, a lot of great people. Vote for Darren Bailey.
You know that full too well. Thank you.
Ready?
Thank you.
Ready?
Every day that happening, anybody who trespasses unwantingly on government property needs to be had. I haven't seen anywhere. So, that was a frustrating day. You know, I think if there is one, I think we're going to find out in 2022. They're apparently all throughout most of the state. We are certainly hearing of a Trump factor. Our economy was never the strongest. The way we are living today versus the way our economy and the nation, even the state of Illinois was serving as a